Hello, everyone. Last time I posted was on October 29th, and I had just got back at that time. I just got back from a trip to Arizona, had got my new SUV, well, new to me, and I can't believe it's already June, not Jaloon, mid June, and just now being able to post. I've had a lot of stuff go on. Way back after I last posted, I actually went up to Northwest North Carolina to for the people that had. I volunteered up there with the Cajun Navy to help with those people that were victims of the aftermath of that Hurricane Helene, and I will tell you that was very, very. It was humbling. It was a very devastated area, more than you can even imagine, more than you saw at the on the news or in the media. And actually, they really didn't. I just don't even know what or why they would not uh, report on that more. They acted like everything was okay, and it wasn't. And if you went there today, you would still find that there's areas. I think it's much better, but you would still find that there was areas that were that are still have a lot of destruction there, and that it was kind of almost like being in a war zone. Those people had nothing up in those mountains, and where I volunteered was at a Camp Living Water, and I was working directly with the Cajun Navy, which is a wonderful organization, and there's Samaritan's Purse that was out there, and several ministries, and then the local people that were able to help were able to be more effective in some ways because of those bigger ministries. But I had stayed at Camp Living Water in my travel trailer. Thankfully I was able to stay, and they let me park and hook up and everything, and they would have allowed me to stay on their premises also. They actually opened up, they have like camp camp dorms and stuff like that, and so that people in that area would not be staying out in a tent or something like that. They actually opened their doors for people so that they would not have to do that. And then they also, people donated RVs and things like that, which was really wonderful to see, so that people would have a place to live. And it was just awesome to see how people were really reaching out to these people in need, and I was very happy to see that. There was bigger churches, well, actually not just bigger churches, but churches in general, but I was actually delivering some supplies to some churches in that Asheville area that was hit really, really hard with that storm, and that whole surrounding area. And those churches opened up their doors and let people come in. They were serving them lunch, and they were taking donations of food and letting them kind of like shop, like you would shop at a grocery store, but they didn't have to pay anything, thankfully. And they were helping, if they could, they were helping people with to be able to stay in their apartments. And after the fact, some people weren't even being able to work or anything. It's still, I think, a very terrible situation there. The recovery time has been something else there. But where I was at, if I wasn't delivering supplies, I was trying to help in the warehouse that Camp Living Water provided for Cajun Navy. They had some set up there, but then Cajun Navy was able to, through donation, they were taking in big truckloads of donations of things, of sleeping bags and blankets and pillows and diapers, and one of the big needs was propane, because of course they had no electric, no water, nothing out there, and they weren't getting help. And some of those people had been waiting for help for over a month, and once Cajun Navy would find out about them, they would send crews. So even people that I worked with, some of the volunteers, they found out about this one area in particular that really had not, they've been waiting like 4 weeks or more to get help. And so Cajun Navy sent a crew down there to evaluate it, and then they just started getting on the phone and finding out who they could send to start going out there to start helping to clear that area and to be able to help those people to somehow have a place to stay. So they had rescue crews that were going out there because people were still stuck, and there's just was some devastating stories there, and I won't go totally into that, but I was able to deliver supplies. There was a small camp that was set up on by this gentleman that his family basically owned. I forgot how many acres, but they basically owned this house on a mountain and then all the land around it. And so he just started letting people come and move in. Most of the places that they were staying was donated travel trailers and fifth wheels and campers. And if somebody had, I think part of them were staying in tents at first too. And then gradually donations of campers and things came, and they were helping families. There was people that, I talked to one young girl that was with her husband, and I think they had 3 kids, and one was an infant, and she actually had to go, she was in labor and going to the hospital on the way while all that storm was coming in. It was, I talked to her personally, actually have that on video. I asked her if I could video her because we were telling stories, the true stories, not just story about what was going on out there with those people, so that people could see what was really going on that wasn't being reported. And so I was delivering supplies to that gentleman for his group. They had tents set up, but it was all volunteer, and people that were in need there had to help, which is, it takes a village when you got all kinds of people in need. And so those people were volunteering to help set things up and have a place for their own storage of stuff, and then there was all the other volunteers where I was staying at, where the warehouse part was, for Camp Living Water, which was the bigger warehouse, in order to supply, the churches that were helping, and like that gentleman that was, I think he was a little south of where the main area that was hit, which was Asheville. And I also, there was that church there, I delivered to there, and then there was some certain individuals that would send in and say, we really, really need certain stuff, so they would also load that, and I would drop those while it was out in those areas, which wasn't, they didn't have to come into a church or into another building. They wouldn't be able to make it to get anything, so I would drop off some stuff. And so it was very, very humbling. I'm very glad I did that. And I stayed there for 2 weeks. I left back to here the day after Thanksgiving. And within just a little while, got really sick. I got really sick. And my blood pressure was out of control. And I think I had already been dealing with a little bit of that anyway prior to this trip. It was kind of an emotional thing, of course, but I'm still glad I went. I don't, in no way, am blaming that because I did that, it caused my blood pressure to spike or whatever. But so right before Christmas, I was in the hospital I was in for about 3 days. And then, so now they've got me all stabilized, and I've been working on a diet plan. We don't like that 4-letter word. But you know what? I had been eating really healthy, and then I kind of took a little detour, and now I'm kind of back on that plan and starting to drop some weight and again. and then eating healthier. And that, you know what, it just takes consistency, as y'all know. That's not what I'm going to go into on this about my eating plan. But anyway, they after that, I was in the hospital for 3 days, about 3.5 days, and then sent home. And I've had like home nurse care come because I'm by myself, and they were very concerned about me being here by myself. Although I have neighbors that check on me, and my family does check on me, but I am not in the same state as my kids or my uh, siblings. So, uh, and I'm not fearful. We talk about that every time I get on here. But so I've had a home nurse come about once a week and check on me and check my blood pressure. And so now everything is actually, I think either tomorrow or the next day I get released from home nurse care. And in the meantime, once I really started trusting that my medication, because they changed me a little bit since I started too. I don't like that process of having to take. I'm not a medicine person, but I just had to get my blood pressure under control. And so now that started happening really a couple weeks ago. So I've already been back to to Arizona. To my granddaughter had her birthday, and so I got to be there for that, and I was very happy to be able to do that. Didn't really get to stay as long as I wanted to because I still wanted the nurse that comes here still wanted to be able to see me. So I was only able to really be out there. I think I was out there about 6 days, 7 days. But that was fun, and I did drive that trip. And so I've been back and just kind of hanging out and getting a few things done at home, and just I am kind of wanting to go on a camping trip here pretty soon, but I have to wait a little bit for that. My grandson's going to visit me from Arizona, and he's been wanting to come to Texas, so kind of excited to go and show him around a little bit. And then he's also going to see a friend here that he's met from, I don't know how he met him actually, but anyway, I think they do video games online too. So he's going to come visit him, which they're, interestingly enough, his friend only lives probably about an hour away from me, so I'll get to do that. We'll go do things like the river walk and some of the neat places to see here in the San Antonio area. And so that's about it. I'm glad that I'm feeling better. I feel a little today. I feel like maybe I got a little bit of allergy stuff. It's been raining here, and so all is good. I hope to kind of get back up to speed and again, I started out wanting to do a certain thing with putting videos out, but just sometimes life gets in the way. Started a new church, and they're actually starting they're planting a church here, so, and not very far from me. So I'm glad to be kind of involved with that when I can be. And life is good. We did a Bible study tonight and talking about the things that help you to be a good disciple. And so we're studying in 2 Peter, starting in chapter 1. And our pastor doesn't want us to be rushing through, which I'm really kind of glad, because that's how you can really kind of study and let the things that the Bible tells you to sink into your heart. And so today we talked about some of the things that you do in order to be to honor other people and honor even sometimes above yourself. So anyway, I hope you all are doing good, and I hope to be back soon. Have a good night, and